start with the presentation of FTB. Would like to give a short overview of FTB's tasks and work. Well, FTB translated would be Research Institute Technology and Disability. And so I have to scroll through the PDF. FTB is a part of the ESV, Evengelische Stiftung Volmerstein, which is a Protestant foundation of private law and a big rehabilitation center for people with physical disability with a tradition. It's founded in 1904, and nowadays we have about 3,400 employees. The following facilities belong to ESV. There is an orthopedic clinic and some other hospitals in the region. There is a big job training center for about 400 people with disabilities, and also a school for vocational education. ESV has sheltered workshops for more than 200 people with disabilities, a special school for children, residential care homes for older people and people with disabilities, outpatient care and assisted living facilities, a profit center as a commercial computing center with about 100 employees, and FTB is also a part of Evengelische Stiftung Volmerstein. Now, well, FTB claims to offer comprehensive services for humans with certain key activities, as there are medical therapy and care, school and vocational rehabilitation, technological research considering the support of persons with disabilities, health services, various services for independent living, supporting people with disabilities in all matters of personal assistance. This is cited from the company concept of ESV. So coming to FTB. Well, we are now looking at the two buildings FTB resides in. It's an office building where mainly the administrative and the scientific staff sits, and a lab and test center being also a kind of visitors center of FTB. Well, FTB has been founded in 1998 by the Evengelische Stiftung Volmerstein within a joint initiative of the Chamber of Commerce, which is the SIHK, the Fern University in Hagen, and the DIMAC. Well, it's a company, a former part of the Mannesmann concern. Yes, you've already seen the office building and the laboratory and test building. There is something written about the sizes of these buildings, and the lab building, it has a hall which is also used as an exhibition, a test dwelling, and showrooms inside this dwelling. FTB has now, today, 23 employees, and it's an interdisciplinary team which consists mostly of persons with technical backgrounds in electronic and mechanical engineering, in informatics, architecture, mathematics, and technicians. There is a bit smaller number of professionals in subjects like law, psychology, social science, social work, and there's also one occupational therapist. That's me. And there is some administrative stuff, as there is a secretary and a bookkeeping person. FTB is a scientific institute at the Fern University in Hagen, and as well a scientific institute at the Technical University of Dortmund, where our head, Professor Christian Bühler, is professor in rehabilitation technology. FTB has partnerships and cooperations and is networking with several organizations. Well, there will be a slide afterwards where some of these cooperations are mentioned. So, FTB deals with the transfer and application of modern technology for the support of older people and people with disabilities. There are two different approaches used. It's the approach of looking for solutions for all, the design for all approach, which means looking for solutions how to make mainstream technology useful for all. Let's put it like this. And there is another important approach, it's the individual solutions or assistive technology approach, which means how to create the best adapted individual solution with means of assistive technology. In the first place, of course, FTB work is committed to the needs and interests of humans, of persons with disabilities and older persons. To fulfill these tasks, organizational FTB is divided into 3 task areas. It's the information and advice, how to put it, not area, it's a center, let's put it like this, information and advice center, research and development center, and the third part or area is the test and validation center. So first I would like to have a closer look at the information and advice center and to introduce this center. Well, try to put it like this. The scope of the Information and Advice Center consists of more or less 5 activity lines. Well, the first is individual advice and support for people with disabilities, older people and their relatives in the field of assistive technology, well, which means individual advice mainly in fields like home adaptation, mobility aids, PC adaptation, and communication aids. The second activity line would be demonstration of new technical solutions for different target groups, which means FTB is using and maintaining an exhibition and demonstration flat, as I already mentioned, to show technical solutions, and some of them are newer ones. And we are, well, we have the possibility to be on external events using an info mobile, for example, and supporting these events with technical equipment. And the third activity line is information services and informal training related to assistive technology and accessibility issues. well, the visitors of our center, for example, they are experts in rehabilitation, nursing, education. We are giving on certain events. We are informing, or we are doing some informal training for these professions. Other professionals would be craftsmen or other technological experts. We do train public administration staff in the field of solution for accessible environment. We give advice and information services for user organization and political deciders. I will come to this a bit more precise later on. The fourth activity line is documentation activities. We do documentation, for example, for our internal database of technical aids, but as well we are a project partner in the READAT project, and we are doing documentation for the READAT in the fields of prosthetics and orthotics. And the fifth activity line is networking activities and cooperations in the areas rehabilitation science, technology, and social politics. Cooperative activities inside partnerships and networks. For example, ETNA is some of them. I will give you a short overview of these networks later on. Well, regarding the first activity line, individual advice, this slide is showing just an example of home adaptation, planning and support with the realization of modifications of a bathroom for, in this case, an older person with impaired motor functions and mobility limitations. This is just showing very shortly a process of what the problem is with a shower and how a proposal for a solution can look. And the solution in this case was a low shower tub, a flat heating and handrail and a seat to solve the mobility problems of this person and to make her more independent inside her own flat. Another example for activities in the individual advice activity line would be assistive technology guidance. This is an example of AT guidance with a person who wants to drive independently with his wheelchair, but so far just has a manual wheelchair without the possibility to drive actively because of the restricted motor functions, impaired motor functions. So we try to find out whether this person is able to steer an electric wheelchair by using a joystick, and the first step to analyze whether he is able to this was a virtual testing with a wheelchair simulation, which is a commercial product called WheelSim. All this just as one example of assistive technology guidance. Well, coming to the second activity line of the information center, we have different facilities and equipment I already mentioned, and I just want to show you some photographs, some pictures of our let's say showrooms, different bathrooms with technical equipment, for example, supporting people with restricted mobility using the bathroom more independently, or completely independent probably. There's a fully equipped kitchen. We are able to demonstrate technical solutions to support people with restricted mobility or impaired dexterity or low vision to use the kitchen independently or with less aid. There are several devices and equipment people can try out there. And there is a there are other facilities like our exhibition hall, which is dedicated mostly to mobility aids, like wheelchairs, rollators. I don't know if it's the correct English word. Walking aids, let's put it like this, and aids for well, I don't know the English expression. It's just to get up and down a stairway. Let's put it like this. Inside our another showroom, we have a possibility to show and exercise with several input devices or other adaptations of the PC. So the third line was information services and informal training. The third activity line of the information and advice center. So these services are targeted at different groups, and well, one group are the professionals, of course. Well, for professionals, FTB offers workshops and seminars, and is present with an infomobile I already mentioned regarding the subjects of accessible housing, the supply with technical aids, of course. There's another topic, easy language. We are able to give advice to this subject, and we are planning to have an office. Maybe it can be realized in the next year. It's a permanent office where people can ask for solutions regarding this subject. The accessibility of ICT, we have different possibilities to inform people. There's a possibility where we are doing website checks. We have a web-based information source regarding accessibility, and we also give workshops and seminars. Regarding or related to end users and user organizations, we support them with agreements on objectives in form of also web-based information, personal advice, and the supervision of these processes between user organizations and for example, public bodies. In the field of accessibility of public buildings, we also have some web-based information. We give training in the course of comprehensive survey of public buildings, which is in the future it will be a very important part of FTB's work to support this comprehensive survey all across the federal state of North Rhine-Westphalia. Regarding the accessibility of ICT, there's also web-based information And we do host a reporting point for digital barriers. Well, there's another target group, the political, the political decision makers and multiplicators. Regarding the accessibility of public buildings, there are also web-based information seminars with self-awareness training we are doing for this target group. And also to the subject of accessibility of ICT, there are some web-based informations and seminars for them. Well, this is just a list of networking and cooperation partners, mostly national or on federal state level, but the AAATE is also on this list. Well, I think it's not time enough to mention and explain them all, but it's, for example, the VDI, which is cooperating with FTB, and VDI is a very important organization of engineers in Germany, for example. Well, I go further behind this list. There is a list of the current projects of FTB. I already pointed out different activities. Of course, they have to be done in these projects. FTB is paid for. So it's the FTB has an agency for housing consultation. It's an activity on a regional level, which is financed by local authorities, and a statutory care insurance, for example. Very important project for FTB is the Accessibility Agency in North Rhine-Westphalia, which is on a federal state level, financed by the Ministry of Work, Integration and Social Affairs. And the Accessibility Agency gives a broad range of information services. Some of them I outlined already, targeted on the implementation of barrier-free access for all across North Rhine-Westphalia, according to demands of equality legislation, well, which means following the requirements of the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities and the legislation on the federal state level in this concern. Well, another project of the Information and Advice Center is the DG project on a national level. It's financed by the Federal Ministry of Work and Social Affairs, and it's targeted at the reduction of digital barriers using information and advice services. The RIADAT is another project in the Information Center. Of course, ETNA is another project there too. So I switch to another task area of FTB, which is the Research and Development Center. There are three main activity lines to point out. It's the technical research, which is done in the field of information and communication technologies related to PC and web applications. The subject is mostly accessibility testing, to a certain part the support of writing on a PC for people with disabilities, design of user interfaces in general. Also, technical research is done in the field of information systems for mobility, where we did some studies regarding the user requirements for these information systems for older people and people with disabilities, and we're also sharing activities in the development of information services. Another field is the ambient assisted living, AAL field, where where FTB created a web-based user interface, or is concerned with the integration of actuators and sensors. And we also programmed a personal localization system based on GPS. And on the technical research line, there is another activity, rehabilitation technology and assistive technology, which mainly was subject of former projects of FTB, not of current projects. And I will have a slide later on outlining some of these developments. Another activity line in the Research and Development Center is the Research and Development Management. It's done regarding one part is the development of technical guidelines and concepts, which means, for example, guidelines for web accessibility, done in projects like the BitV-Lotse, which is a national project, and the eGovMon project with support for a Norwegian project related to e-government. Another part of this activity line is development of research agendas and research networks, and this is done by projects like Cardiac, where we did a kind of agenda for the European Commission, or the Enable network as an example for research networks, which is concerned with ICT-supported e-learning for disabled people. This network is similar to the ETNA network activity. Well, and the last activity line is the technical product development and adaptations line. It's concerned with the development and maintenance of websites. We did some websites, we developed websites for the ESV and for some hospitals, for example, and also in other project activities we shared activities there. Well, PC-based communication and writing aids, we had some projects that worked on this subject. We have a software which is called FTB TipFix, which is a word. Wortvorhersage is the German word. I don't know the English word by now. So it's making suggestions when you write, and it makes it easy for people who aren't fast in writing to write much faster. That's it. Another part activity of this activity line is the technical adaptation of assistive technology in special cases. In some special cases, FTB has done individual technical adaptations as well. So the facilities used for the Research and Development Center, there are computing and server facilities as a basis for our work, for example, for the hosting and maintaining of several websites and whatever has to be done. with these ICT basic equipment. There's also an electronics workshops which is equipped just to work on electrical and electronic devices. Sometimes we do program microcontrollers and such things. And we, as I already mentioned in the Information Advice Center, we have a demonstration flat which is now called Test Dwelling. Of course, it's multifunctional, and we use it also for the research and development part of our institute, and it's a fully equipped and fully functional dwelling where we have various ambient assisted living installation, and the picture shows visualization of this flat where some of the actuators and sensors can be seen. And this test dwelling is a realistic test environment for daily living. For any daily living application has to be tested inside. Now, these are lists of programs in current projects in the Research and Development Center. eGovernment, I already mentioned. This is a Norwegian project where we give support regarding the web-based services for citizens. The NAMO project is about barrier-free information and mobility chain for older people. It's a project on a national level. The Elder Spaces project is a project concerned with the managing of older people's social relationships for better communication, activation, interaction. It's a project on the EU level. Our work in the AIL sector is mostly done in an internal project for the ESV. There's the Cardiac project as a coordination action in R&D in accessible and assistive ICT. Also a EU project. Enable also on the EU level. It's a networking project I already mentioned, and the BIT-V-Lotse is a project on a national level funded by the Federal Ministry for Social Affairs, and it's concerned with guidelines for website administrators related to Web 2.0 applications. Well, this slide is about certain projects in the rehabilitation technology and assistive technology field. These are projects, former projects, not currently done. But we had activities in the subject of robotics. Well, I have to look for my text. For example, the Manus manipulator. We participated in the development of this manipulator, which is a multi-joint manipulator, wheelchair adaptable and compensating a loss of upper limb motor skills, motor functions, let's put it like this. Wheelchair drives, for example, the Omni wheelchair had a special wheel construction allowing very accurate movements inside buildings. We participated in the development of communication software like Basco, which indeed is long ago. PC-based hand assessment and treatment system, the HATS system you can see on the picture there on the right side. which is a documentation software with different input metering devices. And another example is a stand-up and walking aid. Well, last but not least, we come to the test and validation center, the last task area of FTB. And well, there are two activity lines. The testing of assistive products for older persons and persons with special needs. In former times, it has been very important to test the usability of products for the accreditation as a technical aid according to legal regulations of the former health law, the SGB 5 in Germany. Well, there had been massive changes in 2007, and the usability testing is not longer necessary to get the accreditation. So we had the number of tests decreased dramatically in this part. There are also done some user-oriented tests and trial of technical products in the stage of their development. We do this for some companies, and we also do need analysis with respect to consumer demands for some companies. Another activity line is the management of the medical technology of ESV facilities. This is a rather important sector of FTB's test and validation center nowadays. It's an advisory service in consideration of the legal obligations of all relevant laws. And we are doing security checks all over the ESV, and we are responsible for the maintenance and repair of the health equipment in the ESV, in the Evengelische Stiftung Volmerstein. Well, the pictures just show some examples. One of usability test and one of what has to be avoided if you want to keep a hospital more secure. Well, so far, and it wasn't short as I expected it would be, but thank you for your attention. You can find us on the web on the described pages, web pages, and you can find English descriptions to our project to most of our projects in English there too. Okay, thank you very much, and if there are any questions, I will try to answer.
Thank you, Michael. I think there were some interesting questions that were written in the chat, so maybe I can take two of them. There was a question by Jan Eckers from University of Zuid. So I can read it from the chat. How do you keep the technology up to date in your demonstration rooms? They look very good.
Well, how do you keep the technology to update? Yeah, well, it's not so easy to keep them updated, and there are some older devices too you can find here in our demonstration rooms. Well, but we try to stay in contact with the industry, with the providers of technology in Germany, and we offer them possibilities for product presentations inside our facilities, where we invite interested professionals from well, housing consultants, for example, or some other professionals from the nurses or occupational therapists, for example. And so we give them possibilities to show products and new products, and in some cases we have the possibility to keep them. And another way to have an updated exhibition, of course, is just to look for new products and to buy them. And we have well, we have not a big budget for this, but sometimes we have the possibility to buy new devices. Well,
Okay. I'm sorry if I interrupt you, but we are a little bit out of our time schedule, so maybe
yeah.
we can we skip this question? Okay, so maybe Renzo will ask you directly by email if he's interested in. Okay.
In the agreement, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Agreement of objectives. It's not. It's well. It's a standing term. And probably it's not the right translation. I will try to explain it via email for all of you if you're interested.
Okay, thank you very much, Michael.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we have another presentation from ACE Center.